Today we are not going to talk about whether or not I'm the right candidate for the governor of Nyamira. Sorry, it's not why we're here. Today we are here to think about what kind of movement we can build when the time comes. When the time comes for campaigns, and they are coming, I'll be more than happy to put myself against any politician on earth so that we can show who has a better vision for the people of Nyamira. And to me, that is the only thing that counts. Over Sierra, everything else, nothing else matters. And if that is the test, I intend to pass that one. Never failed an exam in my life, not about to pass this one. Fail this one too. You can keep that. Our movement is also a recognition that our county has failed. Our county is one of the richest counties in Kenya. Flip side of that, it's like the worst performing county. How is that even possible? How is it that people in Kijauri are buying milk that's processed in Makueni County from cows that were fed in the grounds of Nyansiongo? How is that? How does that make sense? That we have some of the smartest people in the world who are doing great things in the world, and yet our people are so poor. Talk about cows sleeping in beds, and our people having jiggers, 21st century, children walking in Nyamira County with jiggers on their feet. And you tell me that we can keep quiet, enjoying the prosperity that the Americans built as our people suffer. Think about that. Tell me that's right. I'll argue it's not. You and I don't have a choice. The God that Pastor Kingwena praised has blessed us. Let's not insult him. Let's not insult him by ignoring the plight of our people. I'm no preacher. Pardon me, Pastor Kingwena. I'm no preacher, but sometimes I get angry when I see that. When someone tells me, oh, you live in Brooklyn Park, what do you know about Nyamira? Heck, I know everything about Nyamira. I'm the one who's buying medication for my sister with diabetes every week because they have stolen the money that would have bought that medication. So how do I not know the pain of corruption? I do. I do. I feel it. I pay for it. All right? It's a new dawn. And we're going to say it like it is. Our movement is a simple proposition. The opportunities that are in Nyamira are undercut by two things: poor leadership. You want to know the second one? Poor leadership. How does a building in June of 2021 fall on people in Nyamira County after we have sunk 300 million shillings into it? How do you not get angry? The person who is now fighting for his life, assuming there's a hospital for him, is going to be broken for life because some politician has to buy a second V8. That's what it is. That is what it is. He may be your brother, he may be your uncle. That is what it is. These are the people who are killing our people. Our movement is a rejection of that. And we're going to go to every length to say it, renounce it, condemn it, and yes, eradicate it. When I'm Nyamira governor, that is going to be history. Finally, our movement is an understanding or a confirmation that only we, the people, can We can do this. How do I know that? Because my teacher, Professor Kibwana, is turning a desert in Makueni into a model county as we see, as we watch. Nyamira gets rain, as Professor said. By the way, Professor is one of my advisors in agriculture because he knows what he's talking about. Here's the problem. We have problems, we have people who can solve them, but our county government doesn't even know these professors exist. How are we going to solve soil science issues if we don't talk to Professor Ondieki in California, who is a world-renowned soil scientist, and he's from Nyamira County? And the other day I called and asked, does anybody know about this guy? They said no, we don't know about him. You go to the Middle East. My former schoolmate is the CFO of a major airline in the Emirates. He oversees $1 billion account in the Emirates. He's from Nyamira County. Nobody knows he exists. And you tell me that is leadership? No, we have better ideas. And Bwakire is the vehicle for that. So am I disappointed? I am. But am I hopeful? Absolutely. So I would put it to you that this is a once in a generation opportunity for us to hit reset. We are not going to go back and tell people to bring back the products of corruption. That is the job of anti-corruption. My job and yours is to say that from January 1 of 2023, Nyamira is a different place because there's a new sheriff in town. He may be short, but he's got some guts. We're going to clean shop. All right? We're going to do it. Let's talk a little bit about how then we hope to bring this lasting change. We are simply redefining the relationship between the leaders and the led. What does that mean? We are saying, let's go back to the basics of the 2010 Constitution, where the people are supreme. Nyaboke, in the case of Nyamira, Nyaboke is supreme. Not the governor, not the senator, not the MCA, not the women rep. We have to change the dynamic that people go into office to serve rather than going into office to be served. I want to share a quote that I read in Charlotte this week from a Nyamira resident that defines what I call servant leadership. It says like this: people like Henry is what we need all over Kenya and not just Nyamira. He is selfless, and I'm convinced he will not get there to enrich himself but work for the people. That's from Mr. Yabesh Simba, who's a Nyamira resident and a businessman in Minnesota. We want to define leadership differently so that Omo Boraka is a leader in her household. The chair of a welfare organization is a leader. A bad leader like Manpepe is a leader. Even the catechist, the elder of a church, the farmer, if you redefine leadership, then I don't feel like as governor, you have to come and call me Your Excellency and bow to me while I steal your money. We have to change that. The governor has to be the servant of the people and not the other way around. I'll mention very quickly, and you've seen them scroll, that we base our movement on a set of canons and a set of values. Ours is a campaign that has to come from somewhere. For example, canon number 1 says that every one of us can do something for someone else. Remember, I said we are so blessed that we should be blessing other people. Canon number 1 in the Bwakire way. I encourage you to visit our website, take a look at those canons, and that would inform you of where this is all coming from. I would like to say that I came up with those myself, but no. Our team of dedicated people, we come together, think, and say, what does Nyamira need? And we think that we need a politics that's based on values, and those values are expressed in those comments. I encourage you to look at them, even as you consider joining us. It's an important way to understand our philosophy and our thinking. I want to mention very quickly that 12 months on, we have actually made an impact in Nyamira already. People are talking about us. When we started, nobody had ever heard of Bwakire because it didn't exist. Now, when I call just randomly and I say to someone, Bwakire, they say, oh, are you one of those? Are you one of those? So people are hearing about us. But being heard of is not enough. We have to do more. So we have reached and stood leadership in the 20 wards of Nyamira County. So in every ward of Nyamira County, we have some leadership. In some cases, we actually have a full roster of leaders down from the coordinator to ward captain, all the way to the level of Nyumba Kumi, for those who know what that is. We have changed in a little way how people approach things like Amatanga. If you see a Bwakire donation, for example, you would hear them say, this is the money that goes to Amachuma. We do that uniform. And the reason we do that is not because we have more money than anybody else. It's because we believe that even the people who are preparing the last resting place for the departed deserve our recognition. Because we act, most of the time we act as if they don't exist. Canon number 5, we value work, any work. Whatever you do to help people, we value that. As Bwakire said, we think you are an important part of making Nyamira brighter. That is why we do that consistently across the board, and we've done that for the 1 year we've been around. We have built alliances, obviously, with youths, borders, and the work continues. We want people to feel proud to belong to Nyamira County. We don't want people to ask, are you from Nyamira County? And they laugh. That's what's happening when they see our MCAs flying across podiums in the assembly hall. Or they see a Maramba dancing on the streets and they say, yeah, that's Nyamira stuff. No, we are better than that. And we intend to show the world that we are better than that. That's my promise. In terms of our priorities, we are looking at developing a manifesto that is very simple, but yet we think impactful. So our manifesto, once we unveil it, you'll see that we are focusing on 5-6 key areas, and that's agriculture, healthcare, education, infrastructure, unemployment, and empowerment. And we will provide details on how we intend to achieve all that. But I will tell you that we are looking very deep into the future. We have ideas for what will happen in 5 years, 10 years, 50 years, even 100 years. We want people to imagine Nyamira 100 years from now. Most of us will be gone. Think of what New York City looked like in the year 1900, and think about what it looks like today. So we have to reimagine a new Nyamira many, many years into the future. The good news is that it can be done. A few years ago, when there was no interstate highway system in the US, this land was bare. With the introduction of the interstate highway system, you know what happened. When JFK announced that we would have a man on the moon, we didn't even have a space program. We want you to think of a future that is beyond an election cycle. I'll be governor for 10 years, but I want to be known for 100 years for the things that I did. Before I conclude and before everybody leaves, I wanted to say something about the role of the diaspora. And eloquent speakers before me have said this. For too often, the diaspora is like that thing. Nowadays they call us the thing. We are dismissed, we are ignored, and we are discriminated against, except perhaps when we send money home. That is when our true worth is seen. As many of you know, I've spent a good part of the past decade really advocating for our right as diaspora to be represented and to vote. In 2017, with some friends that I can see here, we co-founded Kenya Diaspora Must Vote. And our idea then, as now, is to say that you can't take our money and not listen to our voice. That's just wrong. That's wrong. We still believe that you and me and everyone else should not lose the right to elect leaders just because they boarded a plane and left. That's just criminal. And the Supreme Court agrees with us back in 2015, but the bureaucrats would not accept that. So, as a diaspora, then we end up being voiceless. Here's the good news. We have found another tact to be actively involved. You know what that looks like? It's me in the governor's office in Nyamira, it's Chui in the senator's office for Kisii. Then we can now advance the diaspora agenda from the inside. Who is going to stop me from signing an executive order opening the Office of Diaspora Affairs in the county of Nyamira when I'm governor? I will do it. And it's going to serve everyone, regardless of where they come from. That is why in New Dawn Foundation, we actually have plans to have projects in Liberia, in Zimbabwe. So if my friend, the minister shows up and says, I heard you're building a hotel in Nyamira County, can I participate? My Office of Diaspora Affairs would say, yes, Minister, man of God, put your money here. Let's create employment for the youth of Nyamira County. It doesn't matter that you're from Liberia. We are one people. So, here's my message to those who doubt that we are determined to do this. My goal as governor is to fully integrate the diaspora population into the development of Nyamira. And that is nothing new. Look at what the Filipinos have done. Look at what the Israelis have done. Look at what the Indians have done. Their greatest assets are their sons and daughters who live outside of their boundaries. How difficult is that for anybody to see? We can do it, and we are going to do it. When we have the best doctors from Nyamira at Mayo Clinic, you bet they're going to be in my office talking about healthcare in Nyamira. That is no-brainer. We shouldn't be struggling with things that we can fix. My message to my fellow diasporans is this. I am one of you. I hear you. I feel the same discrimination you do. But I also know that we can change this. And we are going to change this. So, let's come together. This really is our moment. This is the time for the people in Nyamira and elsewhere in Kenya to hear from the diaspora. And how they're going to hear is when I hold my Bible and swear to uphold the Constitution as governor of Nyamira County. They would have heard it loud and clear. And we are not stopping. My friends, I've talked for long. But let's take a moment and think about the people for whom we are doing this. Who really are we doing this for? It's the unemployed young man or young woman in Konate. Somebody here comes from Konate. It's the mama mboga in the market in Kebirigo. It's the boda operator in Nyamusi. It's the ailing uncle in Mongoni. It's the frustrated and underpaid tea farmer at Nyansio. It's the impoverished and homeless widow at Ikonge for whom we built a house because she was sleeping outside. For us, ladies and gentlemen, this is not an academic exercise. I'm not seeking to be governor because I want to be called. Tell you something, I think I have reached what some people call the apex of success. I have practiced law in the United States for many years now. Some people would love to practice law in the US for a few years. I have been blessed with many years. Right now, as Clement said, we want to grow old with a legacy. We want to leave the earth with something. Do you really want to be known as the person from Nyamira who refused to hear the cries of all these people that I mentioned? No, you don't. You really don't. Now that I've guilted you enough, let's talk about what you can do. We ask that you consider joining our movement. And there are very many ways to do that. You can talk to our treasurer right there, donate something. You can volunteer and join one of our very many teams. You can host an event at your house, at a park near your house. Anything will come. Sometimes we even bring the meat for the event. But you can do something so that we can come together and talk about the future of our people. You can become an ambassador for us. And what that means is you can share the Bwakire message. The message of hope and change. And yes, the message of angry people who want to do something. You can adopt a project. We have within the foundation people who have adopted a project and said, I'm going to give $1,000, but this $1,000 is not going to that campaign of yours. This one is going to help 2 schools that look like this, and we are happy to accommodate that. Because for me, the most important thing is that you touch that young girl that is struggling with school. So if that's what you want to do, please do it, and we are happy to accommodate that. You can join our weekly conversation. I call it open mic. For 1 year now, every weekend, we have a space where I'm usually there and others who can make it, where we actually get together with progressive thinkers and think about what we can do for our people. And this is not restricted to Nyamira County. That is actually how come you see people from other counties, is we come together and say, what are we going to do about unemployed musicians in Kisii County? And then my friend says, let's build a studio for them. So Kumekucha Studios is being built out of that idea. Ladies and gentlemen, for one last time, I'm going to tell you to really reflect, and for those who are inclined to pray, prayerfully so, on what you can do for our people. That's my only request. And if you get moved to join our movement, please let us know. We need everyone. And finally, I am going to be going to Nyamira sometime. But it's not because work is not being done, but it's because it's good for kinsmen to meet, like Achebe says. Kinsmen meet not because they don't have food or they don't have a moon to see from their house. It's because it's good for kinsmen to meet and talk. When I come back from Nyamira, I'm going to come and tell you what I saw. I'm most likely going to come back with an even deeper conviction that we need to do more. Moi used to say, kwa hayo machache. I pray that God continues to bless you, and God continues to bless our movement, and God continues to bless your homes and our adopted homes in the diaspora, wherever that may be. Thank you very much.